Good evening. This meeting of the East Ridge Planning Commission will now come to order for January the 3rd, 2024. Ms. Middleton, can I get a roll call, please?
Chairperson Tuggle,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Howe,
Here.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Here.
Commission Member Williams,
Here.
Commission Member Witt.
Here.
Thank you. I trust everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from the December 4th, 2023 meeting, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minute.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve from Commission Member Witt and a second from Commission Member Williams. Can I get a roll call, please?
Vice Chairperson Howe,
Yes.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Yes.
Commission Member Williams,
Yes.
Commission Member Witt, Chairperson Tuggle.
Abstain as I wasn't here. Okay, it passed. Mhm. All right, and then the next item is communication and comments by the public. I'd actually like to split it up since we have two items for feedback, and I'll give everybody the opportunity to speak when each one of the new business items, if you don't mind. And there is no old business, but under the new business, the first item, A, is a request of Stone Creek Consulting LLC to have the property located at 12 Sheridan Road, tax map ID number 156EA005, rezoned from R1 Residential District to R3 Residential Apartment District. Mr. Howell.
Good evening, everyone. So the request for 12 Sheridan from R1 to R3 would be to use an existing quadruplex that once was a legal use when the property was zoned urban residential prior to 1989. With the adoption of Ordinance 481 in 1989, this produced new zoning districts, which made the structure legal nonconforming. Once the structure was vacant for more than 180 days, it automatically lost its nonconforming status and reverted back to the district that it's currently zoned, which is R1 residential, and can be used as a single family only. The surrounding use are single family, multifamily to the north, single family residential to the east, duplex to the south, and single family residential to the west. The surrounding development for this property are small suburban residential lots with a mixed use of duplex and multifamily, from 1 story to 2 stories in height and with on-site parking. The introduction of an R3 district would not introduce any nuisance concerns related to location, lighting, or height in this area. Landscape buffer around the parking areas may be needed to be considered to reduce any potential nuisance from the neighboring sites, as well as possibly a landscape buffer to protect the single-family dwelling to the north.
Thank you. And if we'll give the public a chance to comment in just a moment, if the applicant is present or representative of the applicant would like to speak, and then we'll have the public give comments, and then we'll give you an opportunity to answer those comments as well. If you can give your name and address, please.
Sure. Good evening, Alan Jones with Stone Creek Consulting, 1112 Wilmouth Road, and that is in Dunlap, Tennessee. I don't want to harp on or kind of repeat everything that Mr. Howell said, but this house is close to 5,000 square feet in size. As he mentioned, it was originally designed as a quadplex. It lost its legal non-conforming status from that was, I think, 1989 rezoning or mass rezone back to R1. The owner, Finley Wright, she owns the property and she's looking at renovating this thing, but putting a 5,000 square foot home on this site doesn't fit the context of this neighborhood. The property right next door is also a quadplex, so it's kind of fitting in with the kind of a character. And it's actually a really, really neat house if you've had a chance to look at it with all the old stonework that's on the front. It's kind of a walkout. You've got from the back street, it looks like a 1-story, but from the front street, it's a 2-story structure. She does have funding in place to do the renovation on this property appropriately. And right now we've designed the parking to accommodate if all of the units are 2 bedrooms. Some of those may scale down to 1-bedroom units. So we may reduce the parking if the total bedroom count reduces. But I'll just, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I was on the Planning Commission the previous time this was brought forward in 2018, and I was reading the minutes, and I was reading my own comments from the minutes from 6 years ago, because my memory is not that good. But my main issue was about the parking, and it looks like at that time there were 6 spaces that were provided in the drawing, and on this one I'm seeing 8. Are there any other material changes, or is the parking the main revision?
Parking is the main revision. That's right. You know, we looked at some of the old historic access to the site, and from Sharon, I think it's Sheridan Road on the front side, there's actually an opportunity for us to bring in 2 additional parking spaces from an old driveway that used to be there as well.
Okay.
One thing I would like to add that wasn't in the RPA staff report that I looked up myself is, keep in mind, members of the Planning Commission, that including this property, there are 7 in total non-conforming lots in this area. There being duplexes and multifamily. So in the future, these exact properties might become in front of this board to be rezoned as well. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that we do have a lot of non-conforming in that area.
Sure. I think it's a bit different than a normal spot zone, because this is like a spot. I mean, it's really, the zoning is a legal issue over an existing use rather than changing an existing property to a new use. I mean, I understand that.
And in a way, it's similar to, I guess it was a few months ago, I brought a quadplex on Green Lake to this planning board. It was the same thing, but that one happened to be a legal non-conforming because it didn't lose its status after being vacant for 180 days. But it's a very similar situation.
So if it was legal, we would just grandfather it, basically.
Correct.
Right, although normally the typical reason why we get these requests is the funding, the bank requires the zoning be conforming, and since this one was vacant, it lost its legal non-conforming status. So it really needs to be zoned appropriate to the use.
So are you open to doing the buffering of the landscape like he was talking about?
Yes, and that's actually reflected on the site plan. Yeah, and that's actually be a requirement of y'all's current zoning requirements, is to put that 10-foot buffer to the north.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And keep in mind one other thing, I don't know the property side or size of it, and I'll talk with Alan about this, that potentially this being high-density residential that would be adjacent to 10 Sheridan, which would be R1, that would require a type C, I think it is, land buffer. Depending on the size of the lot and the depth of it, that can be reduced to 50%, and then the evergreen plantings can be reduced up to 25%. So we wouldn't have like a 30-foot buffer. That could be reduced around to 15 feet. So just keep in mind that would be, there could possibly be a reduction in what's required depending on the size of that lot. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we can do it, because we can easily fit a 10-foot landscape buffer on the site. If that wants to be a condition from this board, just to have a condition of a 10-foot landscape buffer, I'd be happy with that.
Are there any other questions from the commission? Everybody good? Okay, thank you. We'll have you come back in a moment. If there's anybody from the public who would like to speak either for or against the request, feel free to come up to the lectern. Okay, seeing nobody, I'll entertain a motion to either approve or deny.
I'll make a motion to approve with the 10-foot buffer. Is that?
I would hold off on that until we know exactly what, I would approve it as, well, make the recommendation is to follow the East Ridge Landscape Manual. I don't know yet what the size of the property is, so it could be a 30-foot, but it could be reduced to 15 at the most, yeah.
Or how do you want me to word it?
Just follow the East Ridge landscape,
Okay.
Landscape requirements, yeah.
Make a motion to approve and follow the East Ridge landscape requirements.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve from Commission Member Witt and a second from Vice Chairperson Howe. Ms. Middleton, can I get a roll call, please?
Vice Chairperson Howe,
Yes.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Yes.
Commission Member Williams,
Yes.
Commission Member Witt,
Yes.
Chairperson Tuggle.
Yes. Okay, the second item is this is 6B, is the request of Tate Trentham to have the property located at 1024 Hurst Street, tax map ID 169LC010, rezoned from R1 Residential District to R2 Residential Duplex District. I do have an email that we received from Billy and Melissa Quintrell of 1036 Hurst Street. She was not able to be here as they're out of the country, so they have asked that I read this as well as part of the feedback from the community. Dear Planning Commission members, we are writing to express our strong objection to the proposed zoning change from R1 to R2 for the property located at 1024 Hurst Street. Our concern arises from the apparent discrepancy between the property owner's initial letter mailed to our home, which stated the intention of creating a mother-in-law suite, and the information we have received indicating alternative plans for homeless housing. While we understand the need for diverse housing solutions, the lack of transparency raises serious doubts about the property owner's intentions. If the property is indeed intended for homeless housing, it poses potential risks to the neighborhood. Our primary concern is the potential influx of transient individuals, which may impact the safety and stability of the community. We kindly request a thorough review of the proposed zoning change, taking into account the conflicting information provided by the property owner. Transparency and open communication are crucial for ensuring that zoning changes align with the best interests of the neighborhood and its residents. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and we trust the City Planning Commission will carefully consider the concerns raised by residents in making decisions that affect our community. And it requests that it be forwarded to Dana and to me. And they are from 1036 Hurst Street in East Ridge. We'll have further public comment in just a moment, but Mr. Howell, if you want to give the introduction.
Yes, so 1024 Hurst would be to rezone obviously from an R1 to an R2. This would be to utilize an existing single-family dwelling and convert into a duplex with a separate living space above the garage with its own service meter. The site is surrounded by single-unit residential. There are two R2 zone properties to the north of the site, one parcel being 1003 Hurst, which has a single-family residential home located on the parcel, even though it's zoned R2. The other one is 6419 McCall Road, which is a vacant parcel, and it's my understanding that Sterling Holdings has now purchased this property, and it will be incorporated into the new Red Wolf site, so that will be potentially zone C4 and encompassed in that. So with that being said, there was kind of a small discrepancy with RPA saying there was two, duplexes in that area. There's not actually two duplexes at all. The R2 district would not create any concerns regarding location, lighting, or height. However, the introduction of R2 district with an already established R1 district would create additional density in the area and set a precedent for the future of more R2 coming into the area.
Thank you. And in the RPA notes, it gives the compatibility with adjacent uses. It talks about the two R2 zone properties, approximately 400 and 450 feet. Are those the two you were just referring to?
Those are the two, and they refer to them as duplexes, which
Right.
they're not, yeah.
Okay. Okay, sure. The two on the
That are adjacent to the Red Wolf property.
yeah, it's a transition zone. Right. Thank you. Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Does staff have a recommendation on this?
This, in staff's opinion, this is spot zoning. You open up a precedence for more R2 coming into an already established R1 area. Even though it is considered low density, you're spot zoning here.
Sure.
With an established R1.
An established
Subdivision.
R1, all of Lansdale, subdivision is all R1 minus those two properties, which one will be eliminated here in the near future, and one of them already has a single-family dwelling that is zoned R2. So it's actually being used as a short-term vacation rental. So it's one of those properties that is allowed.
And it's on the transition to the C4.
That one's not that I know of. It's on
Okay.
the east side of Hurst, I think it is.
That's the one that's owned by Sterling's Holdings.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
I think as of now, all the duplexes down there have been demolished, so they're already a part of the Red Wolf site. So there's no more
Yeah,
R2
they
in that area.
would have been over here.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'd like to invite public feedback, and if anybody wants to approach and speak either for or against the request, when you reach the lectern, please give your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments to 2 minutes or less.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Jane Sharp. I live at 6112 Schofield Avenue, which is just off of Hurst Street. and almost within sight of the property in question. My family was the original purchasers of that home in 1953, so I have pretty serious interest in maintaining the nature of the neighborhood that we have currently. I have a number of questions that I'm confused about, how a property can be built as a duplex without the zoning for it. So that is, I don't understand how that works, so I certainly understand that there are things at play that I may not understand. In addition to that, on the street where I live, there is currently 10 houses, 3 of which are rental houses. And this is a disturbing trend in a owner-occupied, single-family neighborhood that has been that way for 70 years. So the fact that this might present a precedent is a dangerous precedent in terms of the trend toward properties being rental properties, some of which could be converted to short-term rentals, and that is a real concern to the neighborhood. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes, things that are built not in conformity to the zoning become a codes enforcement issue, and I believe you're familiar with the codes enforcement process.
I can answer Mr. Sharp's question that she had about how it got to this point. So it's my understanding, and I haven't been doing the residential inspections. We have a residential inspector. I do the commercial, of course. Now it's back on me now. But regardless of that, so it was originally designed as a single-family dwelling. They put basically a garage and a unit above it, attached it to the house. During that process, I think, and I think the applicant's here. Yes, I think that it was determined at that time, hey, maybe we could do this as a duplex. So it is not officially a duplex as of yet. They have to introduce, if approved, a demising wall inside that thing to separate both units. Each unit would have its own water, power, and sewer. So we are not at that stage yet for it being a duplex. So it is a single family right now and not a duplex. So I just want to make sure. Did that answer your question, Ms. Sharp? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's just a garage room at the
Yeah,
moment.
it's
Sure.
if you want to call it a mother-in-law suite, that's exactly what it is right now. Yeah.
Anybody else who'd like to give feedback? Give your name and address, please.
Chris Anderson, 1021 Hurst Street. I've been there for like 30 years. And this house, my house sits catty corner on the corner, so we normally operate out the side door of my house. So I will be the one like most directly affected by this. And, you know, I'm absolutely 100% against it. I know we had duplexes on McCall and Floyd, and most of the problems that we've had in the 30 years I've been there has really fed from that. And so anything I can do to keep it from happening, that's what I want to do. So I'm absolutely 100% against it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, and if the applicant would like to come up and give their own introduction, and also if you want to take an opportunity to answer some of the feedback you've received, feel free.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Tate Trenum. I am one of the 2 owners of 1024 Hurst Street. As he was saying, that was kind of how the idea came about. We built the in-law suite above the garage and, thought it would be easier to manage the property as a rental, as separating that as another dwelling and to be able to separate it. On the homeless hero situation, that is something that we have talked with the city about, but we don't really have any info from them and probably would shy away from it with the zoning change. Other than that, we have property management that I work closely with to vet tenants and see who is going to be living there and make sure they'll be a qualified tenant for nuisance issues. As far as parking, there's a 2-car garage and a extra large driveway that we have built along with parking on the side that would help alleviate any street parking on the road.
Thank you. And just to be clear, I'm formerly homeless. I've worked a lot with homeless charities. This is not a question of the use of the property and whether or not we think that's appropriate. This is more a question of, is this the use that's going to be allowed by the zoning appropriate with the neighborhood? So this is not a question of social policy or intended inhabitants. This is really a question of, is this what's going to be best for the neighborhood?
Sure.
All right. Anybody else like to give any further feedback? Okay, we're going to close the public discussion portion. And if the commission has any questions for the applicant, feel free. No? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to deny.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to deny from Vice Chairperson Howe and a second from Commission Member Witt. Can I get a roll call, please, Ms. Middleton? And as a reminder, in a motion to deny, a vote of yes is to deny the request. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairperson Howe,
Yes.
Commission Member Cornelius,
Yes.
Commission Member Williams,
Yes.
Commission Member Witt,
Yes.
Chairperson Tuggle.
Yes. All right. Thank you all for attending. This meeting of the Planning Commission is adjourned.
Okay, thank you.